on that flip chart paper as well. And we're gonna put another one up that has a little bit more, information on it. Yes, sir.
What's driving this change?
The why.
What is driving it?
The thing that I think a lot of people are opposed to is why weren't the people who are directly involved in this neighborhood involved in some pre-planning with you before this all started? You should have been calling neighbors to, if you had this grandiose idea a year ago or whenever you come up with this idea, which is fine, you didn't involve any of us at all on any input that this was gonna be thrown upon us or anything like that. That's what my main concern, I'm sure some other people. All of a sudden you have this idea and all of a sudden here it is, and here's what we're planning
Yeah,
on
what's
doing
driving it?
without any input from any of us at all. Who's in charge?
So-
Who's the one who's in charge
Right
of
there.
making this idea?
She's in charge.
The Parks Department and the county board is in charge. And we know that the road is in rough shape. And so they.
So we're gonna completely close it so the residents can't access their own homes because the road has to be repaved.
Hold on.
Well, would you like me to finish?
Absolutely.
Let's
Okay.
not get goofy
Then-
here, let's
Because
people
this
talk.
isn't, we can talk one-on-one too, we would be happy to do that.
We wanna talk as a
And
group.
that's, so the project, we know the road is in rough shape. It could have, it's like 35 years old, our roads are built with a 20-year longevity. So we are, and so we're well out of that, timeframe. From the time that a project, we're given the go-ahead on a project to the time that we actually get into the mode of planning, can be a few years. So this was part of a 2017, I think, budget, and to give us money for design. And we just got into the design phase now. So we're bringing you in at the beginning. But if we want to meet 2024 development funds, then we need to have the planning done by spring of next year.
Wasn't the
And
beginning when you
so-
approved the funds for the planning, though, shouldn't you have included us then?
Well, that's a process that, goes through the county budget. So it's one of many projects that are put through in the county budget. And it's written up as the road's in rough shape, and so the county wants the Parks Department to look at how we can reduce pavement in the county park system. And this is a road, so one of the options for redeveloping this area is to look at reducing the pavement and going from a road to a trail. So we looked at replacing the road in kind and what that would cost, and whether there was a need for that. We looked at narrowing the road down in size, and then we looked at changing parts of the road where there are no driveways from road to trail. And that's where we're at right now, to have a meeting, first for us to go out and meet with you individually, if you live along Jackson Park Drive, and then to hold this public meeting to get, to hear from you. So Jeremy and Dave, is there anything more you would like to
Can I
add
ask
to
just a
that?
question about meeting with everybody individually? Is what you're saying by meeting individually is when you walk on the door and if nobody answers, you just put the flyer in the door? That constitutes you meeting with the homeowner individually?
Well, we wanted to get out and at least knock on doors, and we did talk to a number of people, and we left the letters so that you could email us or call us. Both Tony and I had our emails and our
You're
phone
not gonna
numbers
put
on
that on
letter.
us.
Yeah, shouldn't we get written?
Don't put it on us that we didn't contact you. You didn't contact us to begin with. And now you're putting it on us that you
Well,
didn't
we
contact me, so
yeah,
it's
we
too late.
contacted you
That's
by
not right.
email.
You're gonna close the road in front of some of our homes so we can't access it, safety vehicles can't get past. And you don't send us written letters, you just randomly put flyers in our doors.
Yes, I don't agree with that.
I would just like to,
That wasn't the way to do it.
good evening, everyone. I'm Jeremy Lucas, Director of Administration and Planning for County Parks. I would just like to point out this is the planning process. This is it right here. Going door to door, talking to you right now, and it's not over right here. Like, there's not gonna be a vote right now, and tomorrow we're tearing up the road. So, this is part of the planning process, and the reason this took a little bit longer is all along the KK River Channel, we weren't quite sure what MMSD was going to do with the dechannelization. I'm sure you've seen that further on in Jackson Park, they are going to be dechannelizing, and there's a lot of activity happening over there. So, as Therese said, that this is the start, and the scope of the project was to investigate alternatives. You guys this isn't the only spot where we're looking at this. We've got a few different spots. We've got some ARPA projects, Lincoln Creek Parkway. There's just a lot of interest in reducing the long-term liabilities of the Parks Department. Because as I heard someone say, oh, you're 15 years late on this road. Well, we're decades late on a lot of different things. And so kind of the goal behind this idea is if we can reduce some of the pavement that we have, we might able to keep up on it over time. So that's really kind of the impetus behind it, as well as some of the environmental improvements that we can have. The hard surface, the water runoff, all of the pollutants that go directly into the sewer and the river. So we're always looking to reduce pavement, reduce long-term liabilities for a department that's non-mandated and quite frankly doesn't have the funding to keep up with all of our infrastructure. So kind of from a high level, it was look at alternatives, see what you can do to accomplish some goals for pavement reduction and maybe right sizing some of our assets to the budget that we have. Yes, sir.
There's about 10,000 feet of curb on the parkway. And I walk it all the time, so I know. There's only probably not even 100 feet of curb. Okay? Now, that has to be replaced or, and as far as the asphalt goes, it was put in 1984. That's 36 years, or no, 42 years. Now, concrete doesn't last 42 years. Granted, 5 years ago, they should have resurfaced it. Of course, like you said, everything gets backed up. But to put asphalt back on, like you said, 4 inches they do now rather than 3, it'll last another 40 years. This roadway is unique to this whole area. There was the city, I work for the city of Milwaukee, engineering, but all my neighbors at one time were firemen, policemen, teachers that had to live in the city. And they chose this area because it is so unique. Now you wanna come in and change it. It's a selling point. We had my neighbor here, a house next door to him sold for $365,000, something like that. Now that was $80,000 over assessed. This is a unique area. You just don't want to change it. I said, I go around and they got rustic roads, in different counties and all that. This could be a rustic road. People that have walked their dogs on it for years can't walk their dogs anymore because they're older. They get in a car or their pickup truck with the window open and the dog and they drive this all the time. I see it all the time when I'm walking. This is just so unique, and for the maintenance wise, you're gonna have to tear out all that curb and do a path, put sod back in. You're gonna have to cut the grass. There's still maintenance there,
Yeah, certainly, and I would just, I would encourage you guys to take a look through the different boards here, because we do have some of that outlined, and it is a consideration, absolutely. Some of the things that we consider there is, driving a snowplow down, that requires staff that has a CDL. You don't need a CDL to cut grass. You don't need a CDL to plow the path. We kind of see as a department that the, you know, parkway leisure driving is not part of what we do at parks anymore. You know, certainly when some of this system was created many decades ago, that was a very important feature. I mean, even in some of our Olmsted parks, there was a, you know, leisure driving component. And just as times change, we don't see that as being part of the park's mission. We tend more toward Oak Leaf Trail, outdoor, bicycling, walking, different types of activities that way. So, you know, I will want to kind of try to refrain from taking too many questions, because it is an open house format, and I don't want people to not have the opportunity to work through that.
If I may here, I'd like to speak real quick. I've got 3 kids, and I live at probably one of the most impacted locations on the parkway. I mean, 5617 West Jackson Park Drive. Like I said, I've got 3 children under the age of 8. A cul-de-sac in concept, right in front of my house, wouldn't be bad because I wouldn't have cars going, you know, like crazy up and down in front of my house. However, and well, let me back up here. I also ride my bike quite a bit. I like bike trails, I like the Oak Leaf Trail, so on and so forth. I ride to work along Jackson Park Drive, through Jackson Park, and eventually down to the section there between 16th Street and Chase. And as I pass that area and I go along the same KK River, there's a homeless encampment there. There are people living by the river en masse. Now, that paired with the fact that I have 3 young children makes that cul-de-sac not even important anymore. I would rather have the road there, have the police have the ability to patrol and keep an eye on those woods. We've already had issues with people living in these woods. And I believe a neighbor of mine's young daughter has been chased by one of these people.
My triplet daughters were chased by the homeless man who was living in the woods that we worked with the sheriff, the police, and the Jackson Park neighborhood. They, you know, drive through safety group.
I'd like to add something to that
And
real
they
quickly.
chased my daughters, this man chased my daughters, who are now 13, and then he came to our house and jiggled the front door. They were terrified, and we've had other instances where my daughters had situations with people following them in that area.
Now, if I may continue here.
Where's the location?
5573 West Jackson Park
She's
Drive.
2
No,
doors
but
down
where
from
were
me.
the homeless people chasing your
In
daughter?
the wood, he
Right,
lived in the
directly
woods.
across the street from?
It was a homeless man living in the
Yeah, he
woods.
had an encampment.
Yes,
in the
which
woods
we
for
tried to go
quite a
through the
while.
proper
Because-
channel to have him
Well, this
replaced
is
and
I
didn't.
run around through this all the time, and I, you know, would be more concerned for myself as well as everybody else. And I don't think we should be having this there because of the safety issue.
If I may just finish here, I understand the intention here, and once again, I love bike trails, I love to bike and appreciate the parks and all you guys do, but I think you're inadvertently creating a situation where you're creating an unmonitored, unlit place where all sorts of nefarious activity can take place. And it's,
So, yeah, right now the road is not lit, and the road has traffic on it, but along our Oak
sorry.
Leaf Trail, we have a lot of people out on the trail systems, so we're able to monitor the situations.
can
And
go
we really, that is not the pathway, or our bike trails are not the places where we have homeless encampments. In the area along the
I
KK
can
that
go
you're
and take
talking about,
pictures of them for
but,
you.
but we have a road here, and you're saying that
But the
there
police
are
can
some.
access
And
it,
the police,
and they've helped us.
Yeah.
police
They
and
won't
the
be-
sheriff access trails.
Fire
Just
department.
to.
Yeah, talk to any police officer
Give
about
you
this.
some thoughts on that.
Downer or
But
something
it's,
like that.
you know, so
Dahmer?
things like this, what's really good about an open house format is that you can come and look at the boards, learn a little bit more about the project, and then you can write comments
But
down.
you need to learn,
Yeah, I know.
we can look at these boards and stuff, so we can learn, but you need to listen to us, so
I
you know
want
about
to.
what we're
Want-
at.
'Cause you haven't up till
I
now.
would like to say something to that, and that is, I'm not working, so I have a benefit, that's true, that I have been around a lot. but I have gone to these meetings. This is not a surprise to me. I have spoken with the supervisor. I have spoken with Tony twice when he was on his route going around. I have spoken with many of you who are in this room right now and told you that there are things happening and that we need to make some changes. One of the things is that it has, in my 40 years of living in this neighborhood, the traffic has become a problem on Jackson Park Drive. The road does not last 40 years. It should have been replaced in half that time. It is dangerous, not only to walk, but to bike and even to drive, because of the potholes, and the county doesn't have budget to keep it up the way it should be. Now, the curbs are not in great shape. There are invasive plants that grow along those curbs and should be removed on a regular basis. People are not taking care of that, and therefore they end up in my yard and everybody else's yards too. Now, so there are things that need to be done, and there are people who are working to do that. So we do need to have these kinds of experiences and not be ready to be up in arms and not get the information that is needed to come to some kind of compromise and final decision. And the people that I have spoken with have taken the time to explain to me and answer my questions and take my number and get back to me. When a tree fell across the opening to one of the paths, I got that taken care of because I spoke to my county supervisor. And that's all you need to do, is keep in touch. Don't come to a meeting like this all up in arms and say everybody hates this idea and how dare you start it without any input. This is your chance for input. And it was there before this opportunity.
And the
No, it
best way
wasn't.
for us to document is to get you guys' information, because for the majority of the county, the rest of the county board, they are not here right now. So the best way for us is to get this information, you know, in email format. We have the website with the project on it, with comments, and definitely take some time to put some comments or questions on the post-it boards so that we can collect it all. Like, this is the best way to have that so that we can document it, and it comes with the project, and you know, when it comes time to put the design for the road together, we have all the information we need to make the decision.
And the not road, the road and the not road.
You remember Dahmer? Dahmer, what's his name?
Jeffrey.
Jeffrey Dahmer?
Yeah.
He used to play on the bridge on 51st Street.
So did I. I haven't killed anybody lately.
Yeah, no, but I'm saying now,
It's not admissible.
Wait, just to ease everybody's concerns, can I just ask, can I ask something to ease some concerns, because there's a lot of emotion going on, to help everyone understand, what is the next step in the process? When will we have another opportunity to meet in a format that isn't so awkward, where there's people all over and we can listen and you can respond to other questions? So it seems like this.
Sure, yeah, like, well, I mean, this is the first step that we wanted to take to gather, you know, as much information. I mean, we will be the first to admit that there's some things that, you know, we're not fully sure on. Some of it being like the sidewalks, right? How do those sidewalks from those homes, how will that like integrates, like property line delineation? You know, certainly like the perception of like your new larger yard will be,
You mean small?
you know, how is that gonna work? Like, where is that gonna go? So, I mean, there's a lot of questions that we have left to answer that will require more work, but, I would ask you, what would you prefer? We could we certainly do another meeting. Generally, we would, present the results of this, on the website, and then, you know, possibly follow up with another meeting that says, like, here's what we heard,
Yeah.
you know, here's how we would respond to that issue, et cetera.
And I guess another question would be, what do you need to hear in order to move forward for sure, and what do you need to hear in order to stop the process? Like, where where are we at with a decision?
Yeah, I would say, go ahead,
Yeah,
Teresa.
well, I mean, we're not here to capture votes, for instance. We want to hear what your thoughts are on the project. We want to hear the questions that you have, because that will better help us address, those questions and concerns. And, you know, so we can do the research and we can look into all the questions that you have and get back to you.
What you're
In
saying
other
is,
words, you're saying
we
you're gonna
just
go on
want
with
to-
this regardless.
we want to
Is what you're
hear-
telling us. You're going on with this regardless. Yeah, well, that's just
We
really what
wouldn't
you're
have a
saying.
public meeting and.
Okay,
So let's raise our
So
hand here
this
now
is-
and say
so
who all
this
wants
is
it
what
and who doesn't
happens,
want it.
Because it
Pretty
isn't,
simple.
it is not a vote.
can I finally
One of
say
these-
something?
One of these
Period.
boards
I've
has,
been doing it from the beginning.
Let's go out and I'll talk to you out here, sir.
I don't have to talk to you out of here.
And no, we
This
want to
woman
find
here
out about the
has
taxes.
been, had
How
the
much your
ambulance
taxes
come
are.
7 times in the last 2 months.
Okay.
And that's saved her life
timeline on.
on Jackson Park Drive. This is disgusting what you wanna do.
We wouldn't
It's-
eliminate access
it's-
for anyone, sir. There's no plan to eliminate access.
Oh, how? With grass?
The road's
Gonna go
gone.
on grass?
No, sir, there's access on all of the things.
Oh, there's none whatsoever.
Have you seen the plan?
The road,
Have you
the
seen it?
road needs to be paved, and that's it.
the
And you
best-
don't have to talk to me outside, because I'm telling you the
I'm
truth.
listening, but the best way to
But
gather
the
that
best way to
information.
get to you is you know what? The problem is, you guys are,
question over here, sir.
That's why I would like to talk to you out here, sir.
oh, shut up. Hey, you have a nice night.
We decide how to
We
move
can't have
forward.
that. We can't have that. This is a public meeting for everyone.
Okay, well, I'll tell you what.
They're trying to listen to these people. We
I'll
gotta
tell
talk
you
to
what.
over here.
You guys have a new name for me. I have a new name for you.
Move forward with construction
F
of whatever
L
plan we end up, you know,
D
taking to
P.
court in 2024.
Do you know what that means?
But let's just move.
It means
this
fascist,
project, have
lying,
this meeting,
Democrat
get the end.
politics.
We'll have your email addresses, and we'll stay in
okay,
contact with you. And you, sir, had a question.
How is it gonna be maintained if this is implemented? Because right now, I run along that parkway, and it's one of the first roads plowed after any snowstorm, and I can get out there the day after, 2 days after, whatever. When the footbridge, it's at least 4 or 5 days later that they even get to that, or there's just foot trampled down across it after 3 or 4. So who's gonna maintain it, the parks, the county, or both, or what?
So the parks maintains, so of course the roads are the first, the first areas that get plowed by our county park staff. So it's the staff out of the Jackson Park unit that will plow here. And then they do trails, so they have other people who are doing trails because they don't have their CDL. So they try to get to the trails right away too, because the Oak Leaf Trail, so you don't, I don't know if you run on the Oak Leaf Trail, but that should get plowed like, not 4 or 5 days. But that bridge isn't considered part of the Oak Leaf Trail. Now it will be considered a connector, but it isn't considered that now. But the Oak Leaf Trail.
Where does the trail go down to?
It connects to this trail.
But where is that, where is that?
51st.
Okay, because Tony told me the trail stopped here at 53rd, so that's another thing, we keep getting different
No,
information.
it does. There's a cul-de-sac here.
Yes.
Trail.
Regulations cost on overtime and the savings by having a trail and grass.
So
Okay.
ultimately, it's fiscal
excuse me,
wait,
there's a
oh,
few
that's
people
fine.
here
Sure,
that
I'll wait my
have
turn.
hands up
I'll wait my
first.
turn.
Can we have it quiet, please? We can't hear nothing here.
Time out.
Come on, you guys.
Oh, okay,
I have a
sir.
couple
Okay.
questions. One, is this a done deal?
No.
Okay. 2, how much money have you already spent? I'm gonna count it by trade. How much money have you spent already on developing this?
Well, the whole,
No,
I'm not.
already preliminarily, how much money have you spent on this?
Well, we have a budget of 200 something for planning,
Okay, so how much, how much is this project supposed to cost?
Be the construction
The
cost?
this entire project, how much is it supposed to cost?
We don't only have the funding for planning and design right now.
But you
we
have to have an estimate as to
we
how
have
much it's gonna cost.
estimates for construction. If it's constructed as a road in kind, it's around 1.6 million. If it's a trail, it's about 1 million.
Okay, so you're $1 million. Where's that $1 million coming from?
That's part of the county budget, and the county
Well,
supervisors and the county executives have to
The
decide.
county is crying that they have no money. Washington Park, Ban Shell is falling apart.
No, that was just redone.
Mitchell Domes need tender care. When you drive through Jackson Parkway from Forest Home to 43rd, when it rains, that parkway is totally flooded.
That park is
The-
being redone.
the
We're
road is-
working
the
with
road is
MMSD.
there.
You're gonna have a new road soon
There-
in that part.
Yeah, and.
Why do they get a
the
road?
The picnic area where people have there, that's always flooded too. There's other areas that need repair in the county parks system than putting in here. We know what politicians do. They like to do the new smiley. This is what we have brand new for you guys because this is, look at what we're doing. But taking care of shit that needs to be taken care of, they don't do because there's no smiley, look what I did for you,
So what will
bragging
happen
about.
then, under your plan, the road would stay as is, in perpetuity.
They would never
And
fix
pretty
it.
soon.
They would never fix
and
it.
pretty- Well, under his scenario of
No,
not
let's just
spending
say-
any money.
Are you familiar with Jackson Parkway at all?
Yes.
Because it is a big bicycle trail and for joggers walking. It's just wider. Why can't you just leave it alone?
Too damn dangerous.
Who's the genius that came up with this idea? There's gotta be one person that came up with this idea.
It's a road because we look at all of our roads and
We
then
don't buy
they're on a
that.
system.
We don't buy that. Look how they've destroyed 43rd Street and 60th Street. Traffic is backed up. When you go down 43rd Street, this is the same concept with the bike stuff. You know, people are passing in the middle of the lanes because people are doing 25 on the road. They're going around. So now you've got this. And then I heard that, okay, the cops that live in the area, how are you gonna get a squad patrolling that area?
We have sheriff cars and police squads that are
I've
on
never
our
seen a sheriff's
trails
car.
all the
I
time.
see more police cars. I've never seen sheriff's.
You make fun of you say, oh, that's the city, the other thing, the things I was talking about. But when I get potholes in front of my house, I call the city and they come out that day or the next day and fill those potholes in. It's hell getting a hold of the county to come and do anything.
Because they cry they have no money
And
because
if
they're
the
wasting
county,
it on crap like
if the
this.
county would, we've been there 27 years, if the county would did a little upkeep on that road through the years, we wouldn't even have this problem. It's not great, but it would be better than what it is. But you see, the city puts down that, they'll put down that liquid tar or something, and they'll put stones in it. The county doesn't even do that.
Well, I couldn't afford it because it's $365,000.
You would see me running all the time, and I run too, but I'm outside having my cigarette before I run.
area
But,
between,
you and I seem to be the only runners that really enjoy running through this place.
but the
And I
county
never run in a
replaced
straight
from
line. People
68
think I'm
to
joking, but I said that, but I don't.
72nd because
And
the
I have 5, 10
residents
different
did not
runners.
want that plan.
I don't
And now
want to
it's
have
a
my
36
grandparents
wide,
live in
concrete, brand new
I've been in
curb. So why are you experimenting with us now? Because
Yeah.
I believe in company and what you do for them, you need to do for us.
I'll tell you why. I live on Jackson Park Drive.
Yeah.
Because they didn't expect this today. We're living on Jackson Park Drive. I am right on Jackson Park Drive, right on the corner of 53rd. And I'm telling you, I see people jogging, people walking on opposite sides of the street with their dogs. It's the first place that gets plowed. I was a fireman up on 56 in Oklahoma when I retired. We were able to patrol that. We were able to get in there. Half the time that subdivision, you can't drive a fire truck in there. The first one that's plowed is Jackson Park Drive. That's another exposure that we can get into. Police. I've lived there 22 years. I don't recall if I've ever seen a sheriff in there. And I have seen police going through there, because some of them, it's their neighborhood, there aren't many. But you know something, people are walking their dogs, they're running, they've got access in there. We've lived in that area, that's the reason, that was one of the big reasons I moved over there. Was that type of a deal. Now they're gonna tell us, oh yeah, we can put in a 10-foot trail. Well, how are you gonna walk a dog? What about the old timers that can't walk, that have electric bikes now? Oh yeah, well, we'll all work this out on a 10-foot path. The plow came through this morning, I bet you they didn't spend 10 minutes. I'm right on the parkway, I see. County's got a beautiful plow. There's no turns, there's no nothing. They run down, they salt, they run back, they salt, and guess what? It's the first one open. And all that access to fire, police, paramedics, walkers, runners, and all the rest of it right down the line. And now they did not expect this. And I'm very happy to see this. Blacktop it, you know something? I won't mention my wife, one more thing. My wife said, what? Okay.
For a very long time. Okay.
I was wondering if they did this in any other part of the world.
It takes an hour to get a seat.
So, we have,
That's moving.
so,
I'd like to hear the answer, please.
Yeah, me too.
yeah, so they're meeting with some staff too. But
That's right.
So Underwood, so Dave here worked on two projects where we changed a road, where we changed a road to a trail. So one was in Greenfield Park, a road that went through the woods and
With
that
homes
was
on it?
replaced with a trail.
Homes on it?
No, so we don't, and then another one was on Underwood. We are also looking, as Jeremy mentioned, we're looking at Lincoln Creek Parkway. We're looking at another section of Underwood, and we're looking at closing part of Little Menominee. So those are all roads that would be replaced with a trail, certain sections of it. We don't have another situation like this. We have roads, like Menominee River Parkway has a number of houses that have driveways along the parkway. But we don't have another section of Parkway Road where we don't have driveways, and we're looking at changing it from a road to a trail.
But that was Honey Creek Parkway, where you guys were gonna do it from 76 by Rapinas to 76 in Oklahoma, and those people flat out rejected it and said no.
Yes.
Said no. They absolutely said no at Honey Creek Parkway. From Rapinas, where the grocery store is, going down that way. And the families in that area said flat out no. So, we need to say flat out no. I mean, I'm trying to think of 10 feet, so I can jog, and you can jog. Yeah, I know, I'm funny. I'm silly, we're all funny.
And a bike.
But 10 feet.
Our trails,
10 feet across, so let's get some people walking their dogs and me jogging, and I don't jog in a straight line.
Oak leaf trails,
all of our oak leaf trails are 10 feet wide. That's our standard. So think about the east side by the lake. You have people coming in from Brady Street, you know, and we don't have a record of injuries or issues.
I used to
So
run down there too,
we
and I'm
have-
telling you, it's not enough for all the
We have
people
even
with their
some
dogs and the big
sections
buggies
that
and you
are
and I jogging.
8 feet. Brown
Forget
River
about
Park
it.
is one of our busiest parks, and we just put a 10-foot, we narrowed the roadway in that park, and we put a 10-foot off-road trail in there, and people are as pleased as I see.
Okay, they can be pleased, but that doesn't mean we have to.
I know, I'm just telling you that a 10-foot trail serves their purposes.
Right,
and it's
I
one of the
agree,
busiest
I agree.
parks in the system.
And I want to be,
So
I
we
want
have a
to be
lot
jogging
of
like this, because I'm in a
experience
train of thought.
with the width of trails.
Has anybody, I can't, my hearing isn't the best, has anybody mentioned about a half mile to a mile to the east? We have a 400 acre plus, give or take, whatever it is, park that's got trails all over it? Hello? Leave Jackson Park Drive alone.
Yeah, right, yeah, bravo. And I think we should also look at the data that Margolis has for us.
You always use that finger?
Yeah, I noticed that too.
Excuse me?
She's probably used to it.
Yes, I'm talking to you.
Don't bother.
So, Mr. Margolis has data for us that tells us how much it costs for them to shovel the snow at certain times of the year, and also to do the cutting of the grass and the whatever. So maybe that should be put on the website so everybody can see how much it costs.
It's on one of the boards. Yep. And so
On the
those-
website, yeah.
No, the boards aren't on the website yet. We wanted to have this.
Well, but I
meeting
had asked
first.
Mr. Margolis to specifically come here with that data today.
Okay, we have the boards.
It's always good to have
here,
data on your side.
And with those cost estimates and with the maintenance numbers.
How's the
and
maintenance
those-
going on that road right now?
And those boards.
How's the maintenance on that road? It's like Afghanistan out there. You guys forgot
Yeah,
about
so,
the road.
but you'll maintain the
Honestly,
trail.
Have you ever drove your bicycle on that road? I live in the
trail is
neighborhood.
much
I
easier
lived
to
on
maintain.
48th and
That's the
Dakota.
whole-
It's
all
our
my life.
problem that they're irresponsible with
You
their
know
money
what?
and they
There's
couldn't fix the
walking
road, so they have to
trails
close it
from
now.
here to Jackson Park.
That should be our problem,
where
the county
we're
is
area
irresponsible
we're
with their
talking-
money.
It is, no,
sidewalks
I
that
mean,
walk
and that's
through the
why
neighborhood.
you vote the people in and.
And
How
we
about
vote them
shut
out,
the-
yeah, but the
Yeah,
problem is we have to
lights
wait 4
out on
years
those
to vote some
people's
people out.
yards.
And the project will be done before then.
Take the road
No,
out.
sir, it's
The road
planning
you
right now.
Take care of.
So like, if
The
at the
asphalt
earliest,
bumps in that
the
area are
absolute
terrible.
earliest, we would have
You
the
guys don't
money.
even
It's
plow that area the
2024.
way you should.
Like,
It's a
absolute
main
earliest.
So then we
thoroughfare.
have to stay vigilant and keep
I grew up on
everybody
48th and Dakota.
on top of this until 2024.
Cleveland. If something happens on Cleveland,
So this will all be just in the
47.
air until 220.
Oh, no, we will.
Makes no sense.
We'll give you guys some information.
I feel like it's, I would just like to know, I think that would help assuage a lot of, thank you for, yeah, I just want to know what the next steps
on that
are.
extra 20 feet of grass.
This is an awkward meeting.
So we will be, I'm going to be responsible for mowing extra space then?
In Jackson Park,
What?
meetings we're at.
I'm not, I don't want to.
They had, like, in
I'm just finding out a lot of the details. I just lived in the neighborhood in less than a year ago.
Good to see you again.
Yeah, good to see you.
John.
Your hands are shaking. You doing okay, bud?
Well, I've been holding this camera for 37
You
minutes.
guys are just looking for guests that you want to put them on the home bridge. These boat things need to calm down. Just, I mean, there's enough of it in our area. Here's the deal, when I was a kid on 48th and Dakota, there was a park on 48th and Dakota. You know what they did for the kids? The same thing they do in every community around here.
Right on that board back there.
They flood the area.
Comments to the website.
Kids can skate on,
Oh, I don't
you would
like
bring
that.
the ice skates right to the thing. They would shave the ice, and we would walk from a block away to go skate on someone's property. And then it was a county park.
I just thought I understood that this was vaguely a bike.
I work for this thing, I know what it's like.
I
This is a
talked to you all
But I
the
heard
time.
cul-de-sacs, I mean, without the
Jackson Park is
details.
a
Yeah, you gotta go, right?
The island
Okay, I
trees
gotta
are
grab
all
my
laid
stuff.
over the pond. We're worried about making a road a path. And the Jackson Park, that whole islands have dead trees laying in the water. You don't even care about that. But we're gonna bring up some bullshit like this.
You had a question about the mowing of the
Yeah,
grass?
so there's gonna be an extra 20 feet of.
Yes.
So is the city, is the county gonna mow that? Am I gonna have to mow that?
No,
They're not mine.
Well,
And a lot of us have
Start taking care of
walkways
the way
out to Jackson Park Drive.
No,
So
right
now
away.
all of a sudden, where our drive, my walkway is nowhere.
Arizona and Texas would form a community and start cracking some lifeguards.